I was shocked when I got into this industry, in other words, made by industry chemicals that have never existed in nature and don't degrade in nature.
This is how slow the water's running. It was never running like this.
Gary, please tell us about yourself and your expertise.
So I'm Gary the Water Guy, and I simplify water filtration to help families learn more about water filtration and conquer their crappy water. I've been in the water filtration industry for over 20 years. I started the water store in Midland then. I started my YouTube channel, Gary the Water Guy, in 2011. On my YouTube channel, we've had 12 million views. We have 450 water filtration videos, and they're all about how it works, how to install, how to maintain, that kind of thing. We have two e-commerce stores, waterestore.ca for our Canadian customers and waterestore.com in the US. And I do a lot of work at promoting water filtration and explaining about water filtration. A few weeks ago, I was on Good Morning America, sharing information about water filtration with their viewers.
Thank you very much. Wow, that's nice. Such a big experience. And I also noticed you have a pretty nice background. It's like it's somehow connected with your activity, with your professional activity.
Yes, yeah, there's all kinds of different water filtration stuff that we have in the background here. So a lot of our customers are on city water, but a lot more are on well water. So they have their own private wells. So because of that, they often have problems with taste, smell, discoloration, staining, even worried about the safety of their water, because often with well water or even lake water, the water has bacteria in it. So we need to make sure that we've got a solution that's going to make sure their water has been fixed for them.
Got it, Gary. Okay, and I'd like to know what consequences threaten us if water becomes insufficient or people consume and use low quality water for their everyday purposes.
Yeah, so you can't make water, okay? So water, whatever water was there at the beginning of time, whenever this planet was formed, is still there. So we keep processing that water over and over and over. So it makes sense that in North America we have lots of water, and we're very fortunate that way. But we need to make sure that whatever we do, we're efficient with that water. Now the problem is, because we keep processing that water over and over and over again, we have to make sure that that water is clean and clear and is not going to make anybody sick. And that's the primary concern. I mean, we've heard stories, Parkersburg, West Virginia, lots of other places where people have become more than sick. They've actually died from the water. The water's caused cancer in some folks. And that's why it's so important that folks are aware of the importance of water, but not just the importance of water that's clean, clear, and bacteria-free.
Gary, tell me please, how can we check the water without tools? I mean, what are the red flags like smell, taste, color, etc., so we can watch out for water before using it?
Yeah, so water should be clear, should be colorless, and it should be odorless. If any of those situations exist, then there's a problem with your water. And if you're on a municipal water system, like you live in a city or a town, you need to contact your water provider and find out what's going on, because something just isn't right. When we've heard stories about Flint, Michigan, and other places.
My youngest would tell me, Mom, it's yellow and it's a filmy, gross, foamy thing, and it would smell like open sewer.
They had those signs. The water did not look right. It had color in it, and there was a problem. That's for sure. Now, again, if you're on well water, then you need to have it analyzed. You need to have the water tested by someone to find out exactly what's in the water causing those conditions.
What's the worst thing that could be in the water? From your experience, what was it?
Well, right now, we're hearing more and more about PFAS. And PFAS are a series of 5,000 artificially made, in other words, made by industry, chemicals that have never existed in nature and don't degrade in nature. So one of the biggest things that we've heard about is Teflon. So the company DuPont made Teflon in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and their employees started getting sick in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But the problem is that PFAS, those chemicals, is in the water supply. And they've done tests in the blood of people throughout the world. And 98% of the people throughout the world, including you and me, have some PFAS in their blood. So that's a big concern. If you have it in your water and you're ingesting it on an ongoing basis, again, a lot of the folks in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and the areas around that DuPont polluted their water, they became sick. And so what happened? They ended up having cancer in their kidneys, cancer in their colon, and that's about the worst that can happen.
Harry, and what are the best water purifiers?
So in terms of making your drinking water super pure, I definitely recommend reverse osmosis drinking water systems. So basically those systems, they're a small system that typically are located underneath the sink, or if you have a basement, they can go in your basement. They're fairly small. And how they work is they take your water and they force it under pressure through a membrane. So the good low mineral content water goes through the membrane, gets stored in a small pressure tank, so it's available for whatever it's time for you to use it. The bad high mineral content water gets flushed to the drain. So the beauty of reverse osmosis is not only does it get rid of those PFAS that I mentioned a little bit earlier, it also gets rid of PPCPs, which are pharmaceuticals and personal care products, because our body will only absorb so much of the pills that we take, and whatever's left, we excrete. So that excreted pharmaceuticals end up in the water supply. So reverse osmosis will get rid of that. It'll also remove the chemicals from their water, the chemicals that they use for water treatment. They'll remove those chemicals, including chlorine, chloramines. It'll get rid of fluoride, which is, again, a highly debated topic right now, if fluoride should be in our water supply or not. And it'll also get rid of bacteria in the water. So in terms of drinking water, reverse osmosis drinking water system is definitely the way to go. Now, if your water is hard, or you have a lot of chlorine in your water, you also want to get rid of that too for bathing and things like that. So there's automatic backwashing filters that kind of look like this guy back here that will remove that from your water. And again, if your water's hard, you're getting those crusty stains everywhere, you got those crusty streaks on your shower doors, your glasses are looking kind of opaque because they've got this film on them, that's hard water, and for that you would need a water softener.
Okay, and how often do we need to change these filters?
So generally speaking, we design systems so the filters can be replaced once a year. So we size it based on the concern. And that's the ideal situation. Now, the water filtration products that we recommend, I mean, you can do the maintenance yourself. So we have YouTube videos that show you how to replace the filters. We actually have YouTube videos that also show you how to install, and a lot more information about how they work too. But that's generally the goal. Now, if you have a water softener, you would be adding salt to that. And again, a modern high-efficiency water softener doesn't use a lot of salt throughout the year. They use 5 or 6 40-pound bags. Depends on how hard your water is and how much water you use and that kind of thing. Reverse osmosis drinking water system, a high-efficiency one, like I say, those filters would need to be replaced once a year.
What other appliances people should have at home so they can be sure that they use the high quality water? I mean, not really high quality, but good water that can be used for domestic purposes.
Yeah, so if your water is hard, then you need a water softener, because a water softener is going to make your home a lot easier to keep clean, but it's also going to save your water using appliances like your Keurigs, your dishwasher, your washing machine, your hot water heater, all those other things, because what they do is they get rid of the scale buildup within all those pieces of equipment. And that scale buildup is going to shorten the lifespan of those pieces of equipment and make them work much less efficiently. Also, one of the big benefits of a water softener is you use less soap. So because of that, a water softener will typically pay for itself in about 2 or 3 years. So it's a very good investment in your home and for your family. It also makes hard water is very itchy. Your skin becomes very itchy, your hair becomes frizzy, and those kinds of things. So because of that, it also helps with your family. But really the biggest benefit of having a water softener makes your home much easier to keep clean. You don't get that scale buildup all over the place around your appliances, anywhere that water touches. And that's a big factor. Now, if you have a lot of chemicals in your water, and you're finding that members of your family are getting rashes on their skin and things like that, that's from the chlorine or the chloramines that's in your water. So chloramines are chlorine and ammonia added together, those are chloramines. And a lot of folks are finding that, especially if they have sensitive skin, that's very difficult. And again, you can get an automatic backwashing filter, something like this one here, that removes that from the water. Now, the beauty of those systems is that there's no filters to replace. They just clean themselves once a week. And typically they last about 15 to 20 years before the stuff inside needs to be changed. So, and then now if you're on well water, it's a whole different ballgame. Or on lake water, your water might be brown. You might have tannins in the water. So there's tannin filters that get rid of that. And again, if you're on lake water or well water, you need to make sure you've got something to make sure that the water's bacteria free. Because if you don't do it, no one else will. You don't have the city looking after that for you. So because of that, you would normally need an ultraviolet disinfection system to make sure the water's bacteria free after you've cleaned it up.
Okay, and if we talk about buying a filter, what are the top water filter companies, and what's your recommendations?
Yeah, so it gets a little bit more difficult when we start talking about brands because you sort of have two ends of the market. You've got the big box stores, and I don't recommend buying the stuff from the big box stores because what happens there is that not only can you not get any good recommendations, because of course the folks that work there, they look after a whole bunch of different things, not just water filtration products. They have to know about electrical stuff and they have to know about cleaning products and that kind of thing. So you can't really get really good information. But the problem is a lot of the products they sell are sourced from China or Korea. So because of that, they're not meant to last very long, only a few years. And it's impossible to get manuals. And it's even more impossible to get replacement parts. So if something goes wrong or you need a part or that kind of thing, you're out of luck. Then we go to the other end of the market where we get the brands like Culligan or Kinetico or the bigger national brands. So these products are very expensive. They're typically fairly good products. Not that they're not good products, but typically you'll pay about double that what you should be paying for water filtration products when you go with those national brands. But that's not the worst part. The worst part about going with those national brands is that their products are all proprietary. So what that means is if you need a replacement part, you need service, you need a manual, you need anything, you have to go back to them. So because of that, they can charge whatever they want. And they do. They charge a premium for that. And if their local service provider gives very poor service, you're stuck because you can't go anywhere else because they have their own protected areas. And so that's not something I recommend either. So there's a huge sweet spot in between. And that sweet spot is for independent water filtration companies and companies like ours that are e-commerce stores that ship the product to you. So what happens is in the industry, the valve, the part at the top, that's the key part of water filtration, water softeners, backwashable filters and things like that. Well, there's only about 3 or 4 companies that actually make these valves. So because of that, you'll see companies like mine that use this valve. So this valve is made by a company called Clack Corporation, which is a company in the US that manufactures these valves and ships them worldwide. But these valves are totally non-proprietary. So what happens is we sell them on our Hume water filtration products, water softeners. That's our private label brand name, Hume. But so do hundreds of other companies. So they buy these Clack valves. They have a company assemble them onto their water filtration equipment. And now it's a great product at a very reasonable price that's totally non-proprietary, that'll easily last 20 years. And that's really what the consumer should be looking for, is that they ideally source water filtration products and water softeners that use the Clack valve or another competitor's Fleck, F-L-E-C-K. That makes a pretty good valve. This is a better product, but that would be a close second. So I would check with an independent company and ask them who makes their valves. And it might seem like a peculiar question to ask for the homeowner, but for the company, they'll know exactly what you mean. And they'll also know that you kind of, you're pretty savvy about what you're doing. And so they know that they have to be careful when they're speaking with you as a consumer. When it comes to reverse osmosis drinking water systems, like this one over here, for example, always look for something made in USA. And it'll be difficult to find because 95% of them aren't made in USA. Again, they're made in China or Korea. And I've tried the Chinese ones. We've had problems with them in the past. We've had problems with the leaking. And again, we're dealing with water in people's homes. So because of that, I definitely suggest you do a little bit extra homework to find the Made in USA products. We handle 2 different brands of Made in USA reverse osmosis drinking water systems. We've had great success with them. They last a long time. But the second thing you need to look for was what I spoke about a little bit earlier, was non-proprietary. Again, there's a lot of proprietary companies out there. So a system like this uses non-proprietary filters. So the annual filter change, the cost of the 4 filters that need to be replaced once a year is about $50 to $60, something like that, for all 4 filters. Where if you go with a proprietary system, you can easily be paying 2 or 3 times that. And of course, the other big problem with the proprietary systems is, keep in mind, these things are meant to last 20 years. So if they change their design in 5 or 10 years from now and stop making those proprietary filters, you're out of luck. You have to throw away the system because you can't service it anymore. So because of that, non-proprietary is definitely the way to go.
So from what you just said, I think I understand that keeping water filters at home, it's not that expensive, right? So like you may charge once per installation, and then whenever you need to change it, to clean it, there is another additional fee, and basically that's it. They don't really break down, right?
So water filtration products are relatively inexpensive. So high efficiency, made in North America, reverse osmosis drinking water system, which I believe every homeowner should have, is usually in the range of about $500 to $600. So it's not all that expensive, and it's easily serviced. So you can service it once a year. A filter change is $60. And again, we have YouTube videos that show you how to do it. And so do other brands out there. But if you want to have somebody come in and do the work for you, they may be charging you something like $100 or something like that. A water softener, again, made in USA or made in North America water softener, like one of these that use the clack valve, like our Hume water softeners, for example, they're anywhere from $1,300 to $1,500, in and around that range. They might use about $100 worth of water softener salts a year to maintain them. And that's pretty much it. It's going to last you 20 years, and you'll get good service for those 20 years. So really, water filtration isn't all that expensive, especially when you consider how important it is to your family. And as I mentioned earlier, a water softener for a family of 4 will pretty much pay for itself in about 2 to 3 years, with the amount of money it saves on soap and your water using appliances. So definitely a good investment for every homeowner.
What should consumers keep in mind about costs and water waste with water filters?
So we should always look at a system that's highly efficient. That's very important. And over the years, water softeners and other water filtration equipment, like our reverse osmosis drinking water systems, have become a lot more efficient. However, if you still see some of the older designs, like some of the reverse osmosis drinking water systems that I see advertised on Amazon. We purchased one of those, and we compared with how much water they waste compared to the made in USA high efficiency ones. They wasted 5 or 6 times as much water to give you the same drinking water as our high efficiency ones. So definitely that's important. And the same with water softeners and other water filtration equipment. Make sure you look at something that's a modern design, like the clack valve one that I'm referring to over here, because they waste far less water than the older design, the ones that have been, there's water softeners still sold out there that were designed 50 years ago. Well, they are super inefficient. Yeah, they're cheap, but they're super inefficient. And that's something that definitely everyone should avoid.
Okay, and talking about getting rid of bad chemicals, as you've mentioned before, is there a risk that when filtering, you can get rid of healthy and good essential water properties? Like in the water, I mean, you can get rid not only of the bad ones but of the good ones as well. What is the risk?
Yeah, a very common question we get about reverse osmosis drinking water systems is, don't they remove everything from the water? Don't they remove all the good stuff and the bad stuff from the water? Well, they don't. First of all, they don't remove everything from the water. They remove about 90% of the minerals from the water. But the minerals they're removing, yeah, definitely they're removing a lot of the bad stuff, things like salt PPCPs, the PFAS chemicals, things like that. That's definitely the case. But keep in mind, we get 95% of the minerals that we need in our body from our food, not from our water. And like I'll do a comparison. Like the people talk about calcium. So reverse osmosis does remove calcium from the water, but people need calcium in their diet. Absolutely, I agree. The thing is, 1 8-ounce glass of orange juice has the same amount of calcium as a bathtub full of water. So since no one's drinking a bathtub full of water every day, but if they need calcium, they're better off to drink 1 glass of orange juice. So in terms of what reverse osmosis removes and the benefits it gives you, far outweigh the small amount of minerals that reverse osmosis removes that are good for you. But keep in mind, the trade-off is definitely tilted toward removing the bad stuff.
What is the key message to consumers, and what tips could you give them to make easy their water filtration?
So if you have a concern, where do you go to start looking at fixing it? Well, the first thing is discuss with your family what concerns you about your water. Because sometimes people, different members of the family are concerned about the smell of the water, the chlorine. Like I say, they might have sensitive skin and it's giving them rashes and things like that. So discuss with your family what concerns you about your water. Once you know what concerns you about your water, do a little bit of research. Go onto YouTube, go onto Google, and find out some more information about what remedies there are available for, again, what concerns you about your water. Then from there, get a water analysis done. Now, if you're on city water, all you need to do is phone up your water provider and say, hey, my family's concerned about the scale buildup we're getting from our water. It's hard water. We'd like to know how hard our water is, or our family's concerned about the mineral content in our water. We want to know what's the mineral content of our water. Once you've got that information, then you go and you search for someone that does water treatment. Now, if it's something you want to have done locally, you search for someone that does water treatment locally. And again, Google's your friend. Just go online and start searching for water treatment professionals. So I'm a certified water specialist. I always recommend that so I'm certified by the Water Quality Association. So that's a really good place to start, the WQA, or Water Quality Association. They have a website and they list all of their members, both in Canada and the US. And so from there, that might be a good source of finding someone that can help you with your solution. Once you're talking about a solution, then you need to know that whoever is addressing your concern, that they look at your water analysis. So either they come and they test your water on site, or they look at what the city's provided you. Now, if you're on well water or lake water, you'll definitely need to have that water tested. So either someone will test it locally for you, or you'll send in a water sample to a lab and have it tested at the lab. So for people that don't have anybody nearby, so we have our e-commerce store, so we get people sending us water analysis all the time. And with that water analysis and a few more questions, we can put together a water filtration package for you. We ship it to you. We offer free shipping, and then you have a local plumber do the installation. But when you're considering about investing in water filtration equipment, definitely look for made in North America. That's huge. Because again, products like this and products like this, you can find them made in North America, but build quality is much better. Again, also look for non-proprietary products so you can get parts and you can get service. The beauty of non-proprietary is that there'll be all kinds of YouTube videos that offer troubleshooting help, maintenance help, installation help if you want to install it yourself, and a lot of great information along those lines.
So it's time to check out the filters.
That's right.
Great. Thank you, Gary, and have a nice day then.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity.